welcome back. Tiffany Wolfe here. Yacht A, everyone. And I'm here with the awesomely talented Monica Zavala. She is an amazing Tongva artist. Her work, you have to check out her Instagram, follow her on TikTok. You see her works of art. She is so talented. So,
Thank you.
Monica,
Welcome, welcome. Hi, yeah, I am Monica. I am from the Gabrielino Tongva Nation. I am also have lineage from my Acjachemen relatives. I had a Tongva relative and a Acjachemen relative get married at one of the missions, and that's how I got my lineage from the Sepulveda family. So that's that's where I come from. My village comes from what is now known as downtown Los Angeles, um, the Yabit or Yanga village. And yeah, just happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that because
Yeah.
I know that LA, if you look at the census demographics, LA is like the largest native population due to Relocation Act. But the
Mhm.
fact that Tongva people, that is your traditional territory, and I think like more people should know that. It should be on all the signs, welcome to
Yeah.
the territory.
Thank
So
you. Thank
yeah. So let's get into your creative journey. So how long have you been creating art?
So I have been creating art as long as I can pick up a pencil, a pen. Um, I first started as an illustrator. I love drawing as a young kid. Like any project that involved drawing when I was in school, I would usually have the teacher would always point out like, "Oh, look at this example." Like I was always the one that was the highlight of the project. And then as I get older, I started doing like fan art, a lot of Disney characters. I also started making my own characters. I have usually when I do like talks and stuff, I show a little PowerPoint and I have like some of my original drawings from when I was like little, like at
No
8 years old.
way.
Yeah, so I get to show people a little bit of that. And then I started making these little characters, like my own little characters. And then I started getting into realism, and I would do portraits and stuff, but portraits got a little boring after a while. And I really gravitated towards drawing hands. Um, Hands were something that I was always told was the hardest thing to draw, and we would do a lot of exercises in a lot of my art classes with hands where you would just take you just look at your hand and you kind of like make lines across, like not drawing the outline of the hand but make lines across to make it look like it's 3D. And I really love that exercise. And when it came to drawing, and then I would implement it in my art a lot. So I was doing um, sculptures of hands. I was doing printmaking. I was doing traditional printmaking where I would carve out wood, make basically like a giant stamp. I was doing that with hands. I was doing mixed media artwork with hands, and then drawing, and then eventually it turned into painting recently.
Oh, that's awesome. And you use acrylic?
I use acrylic. Yes,
Oh,
yes. I
okay.
I do
Okay.
know how to use oil, but it takes too long for it to dry. So I'm
Yeah,
impatient.
I know. Yes, I familiar with acrylic. I do my digital art and I just finish it within 2 hours or else I lose patience.
Yeah, I get that. I do digital art too. A lot of there's some companies out there that will inquire if I can do like website artwork for them, and most times I take it. So yeah, I do a lot of digital work too.
That's awesome. I love that you just took us on your journey that many people don't realize that artists go through, right? When you first start creating art and you're finding your path and you first
Oh
start
yeah.
copying things. I did that. I started copying and then you create your own. You kind of become an expert in that. So then you go on to a next area and then you go on to a next area.
Yeah.
And then you kind of find settle into what you really like. And I love that you did the hands with the acrylic painting because they're beautiful, very
Thank
unique.
you.
Hmm.
I think it's more. I think I found my niche.
Yes,
Niche. Niche.
Niche.
I feel like
Yeah,
that word sounds weird.
that is right, niche. Yeah.
Niche. Yeah.
So
So I really took on to that and I just rolled with it.
that's so
Yeah.
good. So you were talking about you have in your slideshow your first couple of your first drawings and stuff. So do you recall the first piece that you were like, yeah, this is it?
The first piece where I was really, oh my goodness. Um, I mean, I've had a lot of good moments throughout my art journey. With illustrations, I've had illustrations that like caught a lot of people's eyes. My sculpture where I did like a tribute to MMIW,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of went a little viral on TikTok.
Oh.
Uh, so it's a sculpture of a hand, and it's actually I did a casting of my mother's hand because
Oh.
her hands were small enough to fit into the mold. Um, but that one took off. It's like each medium, I think I've had like a wow moment. Even in my printmaking, I had like my self portrait that took off pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very um, it got a lot of reaction. And with my painting, I did have one painting that started this series that I'm working on right now. It's of four hands. They're all bird singers, and it's just them and their rattle, and they're side by side. And that painting just blew up
Mm-hmm.
into something that is now what I'm doing now. So it happened almost 2 years ago. I made
Uh-huh.
that painting, and now I'm doing conferences. I'm speaking at I even spoke at Comic-Con.
Oh my
Um
gosh, that's so awesome.
yeah, I've gotten to share my artwork with so many people at so many events. So um I think each medium has their own spotlight, so moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you still do like a call for artists? Because the legal it's the American Indian Legal I think Society or something like that. They have a big conference and sometimes they do call for artists for people to submit or
Yeah, so I actually just did a call for artists. So I'm still waiting to hear back to see if I even got chosen or not.
oh,
Uh, it was for a Native American epidemic conference,
okay.
something like that. So it's like healthcare stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I put in a illustration for that one. So
That
it was a yeah, it was a drawing.
that's so cool because as artists, we're sharing what's in here, inside of
Mm,
us. And when you do your paintings, it's your personal expression of how you see the world. But
mhm.
sometimes people have this preconceived notion of what artists should be. Have you experienced that? And how do you kind of push back on that?
Um, yeah, I mean everybody wants us to be like I think there's like this picture painted of an artist like they're not as successful and they have to have a job in order to keep their art alive. Like they expect us to all be like the starving artist, but so far like I've been doing pretty well with my art, and they expect us to like be this person who is having to go through a struggle.
Because there's also, I don't know if you've seen it where somebody taped a banana on a wall and it was like a $4 million or something. I was like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so much. It's crazy what we see as art and what another person who's not an artist sees as art.
hmm
So it's two different lenses, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's just interesting to see like the difference.
it is interesting because the person who's like me, when I share my art, it's kind of nerve-wracking to say, here's my stuff. I hope you like it. But also, like, what was that person thinking? Did they feel that way when they slapped the banana on the wall, Or like, what were they thinking? Or were they like, yeah, that's it,
I
Like,
mean, I think it's all social experiment.
Oh, I love that perspective.
I mean, we are putting out what we think is good, but we don't know how other people are gonna think if it's good or not. And just like that guy, he's all like, "I don't know if this is gonna be good, so we'll see what happens." It's all social experiment. So,
I love that perspective because that kind of takes the pressure off. Like it's what, because the thing they say is like be your authentic self, share
hmm
what you like. But then I don't know if you've had this, but I've done stuff where I was like, ooh, this is awesome. I love this. And it's like people are like, okay, no comment, no like, no
definitely,
nothing.
I have definitely made illustrations and I put it out there for the world. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is gonna be the one that goes viral, and it's
Uh,
like maybe 15 likes, and then I have like 1,500 followers and only 15 people like it. I'm like, okay, maybe not, but I like it, so whatever.
exactly. Yes. And then the other thing I find is that I feel like people, and with your art is an example of this, is that people don't want to be told what they're looking at. They like to interpret it and make their own stories. Because when I do something that's very well, like this is a banana on a paper, and they're like, but if I just kind of do these different colors and abstract lines and add this, and it's not well defined. Oh, people love it, because I think they're
Mhm.
creating their own story.
Oh yeah, and even in my art where it's like it's hands doing literal things, like people even have like different interpretations of what it might symbolize, and it's cool. It's interesting to hear like what people think, especially people who see my artwork and they're not from a native perspective.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so they're like they don't know what, like, if I have, like, for instance, I'm looking at one of my paintings and it's of Dr. Stan Rodriguez and he's building a Thule boat. But if somebody who doesn't know, who's not from around here doesn't know what a Thule boat is, they're like, okay, what does this mean? Why is he tying some straw together? Like, they don't know it's what Thule is. They don't know what he's tying, and like they're like, what is this symbolizing? Like, they're just really pondering it. So from seeing people from a non-native perspective look at some of the things that I paint, it's interesting to hear their interpretations. So it's been a journey hearing some of these things. Like, people
I
are,
bet.
yeah, some people like have interpreted some of my paintings as, oh, does this represent like thunder? And it's like it's people in the sky and they're playing with clapper sticks and like, oh, is this thunder? I was like, you know what? Yeah, today it is.
Exactly. I mean, like they like to say, don't tell me the story. Allow me to interpret it. So that's like
Yeah.
a perfect example, which I find fascinating. Like and that goes back to your whole statement on social experiment.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But it's cool. It's interesting. I love to hear other people's interpretations,
Mhm.
and then when I tell them what the actual backstory is, they're like, "Oh, that's." But yeah.
So cool. Okay, so how do you stay inspired when you feel blocked or uninspired?
So how do I feel inspired? I would have to say is I go out to events. I go out to ceremony. I go out to powwow. I go out to gatherings, and if I find anything that's interesting, I just look around. I just look around. If there's birds, if there's like a bird dancer that's holding her dress in a certain way that is different than anything else, I'm really like, let me go ask her if I
Yeah.
could take some pictures. And or if there's someone who's, even like, sometimes there's like a silversmith and he's working on a ring right in front of me, I'll ask if I could take a picture. um I asked a silversmith one time, but he did not want me to take his picture, so I was like, that's
Oh,
fine.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, he's all he was weird with pictures, so
Uh-huh.
I think that was his own personal preference, and I always have to respect.
Hmm.
Uh, I always ask permission, like I was telling you earlier, in our own personal conversation. I always ask for permission for anybody who I try to get inspired off of their hands, and I ask for permission to take pictures so I can use them as reference photos for my paintings. But yeah.
So when you first started asking permission, was it kind of like oh, what are they going to say? And now it's a lot easier? Or how is your approach?
I okay, so I still get a little bit of weird looks because the way how I've been saying, like asking people, it does sound weird now that I think about it. Because I go up to people and they're holding like maybe their gourd or maybe they just like the tattoos on their hands. I'm just like, can I paint your hands? And they're like, paint my hands. They think I'm actually like gonna put paint on their hands. I'm just like,
Oh,
no, no, no,
okay.
no. And then I have to show them. I show them my Instagram and I show them the
Uh-huh.
past. But I even show people like pictures from my Instagram. They're like, so you want to paint on my hands? I was like, no, no, these are paintings. I had to tell them that they were paintings. They thought they were pictures of just people's hands. And I'm
Okay.
like, oh, that's a compliment to me because that means
Yeah.
I'm getting really good at realism. But
Yes.
yeah, I do approach him. I have to figure out a better approach though,
No, I'm sure
because
it's working so far.
it's
But
working so far.
going back to your discussion or your statement on your realism, I mean, the painting behind you, the way you have the highlights and capture the shadows, I mean, that looks real. Like that looks like it could be like a photo, a piece of a photo, you know? So,
Yeah, so
yeah,
yeah, that's the
very
recent
good.
piece that I'm working on. That's a picture of my grandmother's hands.
Oh,
She's not native. I am
okay.
also Chicana.
Oh,
But she's making tortillas, and I
uh-huh.
am the only grandchild and child that she like all of her children and her grandchildren did not learn how to make tortillas like she did, besides me.
Oh,
So it's her hands, and on the other side, it's going to be my hands. And it's the piece I'm working on right now. She is coming to the end of her life. She's
oh,
94 years old,
wow.
and um, unfortunately, yeah, she's getting to that stage of life. And I'm hoping that I can finish this before that, so that she can see that
Yeah.
her little admiration for her.
That is
So
so special. That's so good. 94? I mean, I
94.
I could hang into 94. You know, that's so good.
Yeah, she's been a trooper all these years.
Uh-huh. And how does she feel about your art? What did she say? Or any
Oh,
advice she gave you?
she's she's not a very art person, like an admirer of art, but like every time I show her something new, she says, "Wow, that's so great." I know she doesn't understand a lot of it. It was
Uh-huh.
my grandfather that was the native one, but
Uh-huh.
he passed when I was 5. But like she loves seeing my painting. And sometimes I'll show her like progress in between. She's like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh wow, that's going so great." But yeah, she's a big supporter of my art.
That's
Yeah.
so sweet. Yeah, grandmas are important.
Very.
Um, well, sharing your painting of your grandma just goes into this next question of can you share an experience where art deeply impacted your life or the life of someone else? Mainly your life.
um, Mainly my life. Well, I mean, every time I get to paint somebody, it's like they they get to see how I see people in my eyes because when you look at somebody, you see them at face value, but then when you're painting somebody, you see every little crack, crevice, scratch,
Uh-huh.
scar when you're actually getting down and painting. And the people who I paint, then they start to realize, oh, that's part of me. Like now I'm starting to see my little flaws or imperfections and stuff, and they get to see themselves a little bit more. And sometimes it gets emotional because sometimes I paint people who, like, for instance, like my grandma. I've already shown my mom a little bit of the progress of this, and I could tell it's sparking some emotion in her. um I did do a piece on the late Kelly Myers. She is a tribal justice judge who passed away, I want to say about 2 years now.
Okay.
And I was able to gift a painting to her sister, and this was after she had passed. So I had to really use my imagination and use past photos, and I got to learn what her favorite shirt was, her favorite nail color was, her favorite necklace, um, I got to learn about somebody who I didn't know, and I really got to know somebody through my painting. So and then when I presented, of course, there's that emotional state
Mhm.
that the other person has, which brings the emotional state onto me, and now I get emotional,
Yeah,
and it was a good time. But
that is so
it's it's
cool.
it's nice to bring a little bit of something back to life, and share that with everyone. So
Yeah. That's beautiful because to me, there's like multiple layers. Like as you're working on it, the thoughts and the things that you put into it, are going to resonate when they have that painting. And then it's a painting of somebody who's gone on, and then that emotional compounded on top of it. I think that's so cool. Because we have baskets of my husband Jason's grandmother, great grandmother. She was a renowned basket maker. And one day I was like holding them, and I was like, the fact that she held them for all those hours and working all that, her hands and
mm-hmm.
the thoughts and intentions and the prayers or, that she's putting into it, and we're holding it, and it's like just carrying
Feel
through.
that
And I feel like
emotion.
yeah, and I feel like that's in your paintings too. I'm sure as you're working on it, thinking
Oh
of
yeah.
the late justice and that, that you're putting that into there. And then when they see it, it's like the compounding of your um emotion into it and then the emotion of her carried through it. I think that's beautiful. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so speaking of, on this level, what does being human mean to you? And how does it reflect in your work?
Being human, to me, I think you allow yourself to make mistakes in order to learn how to be alive.
I love that. I love your point of view, like social experiment, being able to make mistakes because in our society today, especially with the content creator, everything's perfect on Instagram. I think we get this message of like, we're not allowed to make mistakes. We're not allowed to be human.
Mm-hmm.
Human,
Yeah, at face value, like, you're seeing everything picture perfect on social media, TV, movies, but in reality, like, you have to make so many mistakes to get to where you're at, regardless of who you are. Like, everybody's gonna fail at something, and everybody's got to learn from that, and everybody's got to try. And if you just got to learn if it's for you, if it's not for you. So um to make mistakes is to learn to be alive. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think way too deep into life,
Uh-huh.
as I don't find it to be something that you have to be so serious about, because we only have one
Yes.
life, um that we're physically in right now.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you just can't take everything super serious. You know, you're allowed to make mistakes, you're allowed to learn from them. Um, you're allowed to do dumb things, but not too dumb.
Yes.
Like, you just gotta, not be too serious.
Yeah, I love that because that's so true. I feel like sometimes I take myself too serious. Like I
Mhm.
said, when I go to share something, I'm like, oh, and then I share it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well that wasn't too bad, But
How unserious am I? I'm about to drink from a juice box right now.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Bro, got a little cold.
Uh, so uh that is such great advice. I hope whoever is listening to this that you take that to heart because going through our journey, it's important to have that it's making mistakes, going on your journey, our path in life, and then just kind of figuring things out because I feel like that as an artist, that's kind of what you do is like figuring things out even in my professional life as a environmental professional, it's like reading things and figuring those things out. Like, how do we solve this issue?
Yeah, and like a lot of the times when I know that I'm about to go through a rough patch, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, it's going to pass either way.
Uh-huh.
Whether I get, whether it's going to be hard or not, it's still going to pass. Like a week from now, that's going to be behind me, or a month from now, that's going to be behind me. It's going to pass regardless if I struggle or not. So make mistakes,
Yeah,
do
there you go.
it.
Not too serious ones.
Not too serious.
But yes, explore, explore. Do you feel a sense of responsibility to share your native culture and your community?
I feel like I do
Okay.
because there was that time when we weren't allowed, like, not me personally, but my ancestors weren't allowed to express themselves with their language, their um their cultural practices. And I feel like now that we have that opportunity to bring all that back, I think I do have a responsibility to kind of reinstate that and kind of bring it back and kind of let it live again, and without fear. And so what I do in my art is I let people know that we still do these things. We're not afraid to do them. And, there's no one that's going to tell us not to anymore. So a lot of my artwork, we went through a lot of hardships in the past, but I I purposely choose positive things in my artwork to show that those negative things that happened in the past did not kill off our practices that we have now. So I'm sharing what we still can do and what they did not wipe out. So um, I share a lot of our accomplishments. I share a lot of our traditions that we still, we're not going to be silent. So I feel like it's my job to kind of um, record, or not record, but like put this out in the world for everybody to see that we are not going anywhere. So we won't.
That's
Yep.
silent. Yeah, that is perfect. I love that because I think so. Native American Heritage Month just finished, right? But
Mhm.
I feel like it was the most quietest uh month ever because I didn't see that many ads. I didn't see anything
Either.
during the football. Did you?
I really did it. I did see like maybe one hockey team maybe did, like, no one really advertised it, so I
Uh-huh.
didn't know until someone told me about it. Um but like I don't see like advertisements for Native American Heritage Night at, like, for baseball, football, like none of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of sense that this is a quiet time right now, and it's suspicious.
I know, right? So that's
Oh
why I'm like, what you're saying just totally resonates because we need to take up more space. We need more visibility.
yeah,
And yeah, so I
I'm
think,
willing to be as loud as possible in my artwork.
heck
So
yeah. So when you're creating out of all your pieces, what is your favorite cultural activity, I guess?
I love to paint bird singers,
Uh-huh.
their gourds, their hands. A lot of them are tatted. I love to paint tattoos. Um, I love the diversity of their gourd, the individuality that they have. A lot of them are their own designs. Um, I painted a bird singer, blue eagle. His gourd has, like, it looks like lightning,
Wow.
and gourd. So I thought that was really cool. Some of them are plain single color, and that's cool too. But and then they have, like, depending on what they wear, sometimes they wear like sweatshirts, t-shirts, so the tattoos are showing. Or I even have one where they're wearing like a dress shirt,
Uh-huh.
very professional. So you just see all the diversity,
Yeah.
um there's not one bird singer that is the same from the other one. So
Uh-huh.
I like the diversity that I can do with those, and I can paint every single one of them, and it still be a cool, variety of pieces.
That's so
So
awesome. Like when I see your paintings of the bird singers, I
Mhm.
automatically can hear, I don't know what they're singing, but it's like I could hear it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love that. Okay, so we're kind of winding down here. So if you could pass on one piece of wisdom to other creatives, what would it be?
If I could, whatever you learn from someone else, you take that, you build onto it, and you pass it on to the next one.
Yeah.
So if someone is teaching me and being my mentor, which
Mhm.
I do have a mentor, his name is Dr. Eric Tippeconic. He's a
Okay.
professor at Cal State San Marcos. He helped me learn about the whole gallery process, what it takes, all writing your descriptions, tombstones, all that.
Mhm.
I learned so much from him. And now that he's taught me all that, and now that I've been in a few galleries and I've, you know, I've made a little bit of a name for myself.
Mhm.
Now I can take that knowledge and I can pass it down to whoever needs my help and my knowledge. And I don't gatekeep. I don't believe in that when it comes to the knowledge that I've learned from other people about my art. If someone wants to know what kind of paper I use for my prints and stickers, I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna give them the link. If they want to know like my techniques on like how I start a painting or what I do to start my painting, whatever they want to like learn, I'm going to teach them, and I hope they do the same thing too.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's important, not gatekeeping, because how else is our community going to learn, grow, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people are afraid, like, oh, they might take, but in reality, no, because we're all have our different journey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here is rapid fire. What is your go-to snack while working on art projects?
Chips, specifically hot Cheetos.
Ooh, we love hot Cheetos. Okay, if you weren't an artist, what do you think you'd be doing?
Ah, man, that's crazy. Ah, I don't know.
I love that you never even thought about it.
I
That
never thought about it. Maybe a
is
teacher.
okay, okay. I love that you never even considered that. That is beautiful. Okay, so if you could collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Any artist, dead or alive? Bob Ross.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay,
I'll
and then
put the
what's
I'll put the people in his little backgrounds.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's funny. You're like a fluffy little hand. Or what is it?
I
Okay, what
actually have a collection of Bob Ross stuff, so
really? That's
yeah.
so cool.
The Monopoly board. I have a bobblehead. I have it all.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. He's like your hero, huh?
Yeah, somewhat. I just
Yeah.
like his calm voice and his little like happy little mistakes and stuff.
Yes, that's so funny. So, what is one thing that people would be surprised to know about you?
I know. Something that people don't know about me is I like to write scripts.
Ooh, okay. Are
Yeah,
we maybe there'll be a film in the future?
maybe. I don't know. I when I have the time, I like to like the way script writers actually write out a professional script. I took a
Uh-huh.
script writing class, and I had to be in a group of like four other people,
Uh-huh.
and of course, group projects how they go. One person usually does all the work, and the other one's kind
Uh-huh.
of just like piggyback. So I ended up doing this because I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I did sort of like a. Have you ever seen the movie like 1408?
I don't know. What is it about?
It's about this guy. He goes and he writes like a book on like the 15 or the 10 top 10 scariest places to visit.
Oh yes,
And
Room 40. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and he goes to the hotel and it's
With
like,
John
so
Cusack.
I wrote a script and it sounded sort of like, after I wrote it, it sounded sort of similar like that, but it was based off like how someone would go to the Cecil Hotel and like they can't escape. So I like to write scripts that
I
way,
love that. I hope
sort
that
of
we
like
have,
suspenseful things.
yeah, a little bit of horror, a little bit of suspense, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
so cool.
I do script writing sometimes.
Did you, whoever's out there listening to this, team up with Monica, create a film. I'd like to
Yeah,
see it.
let's do it. I'm
Yeah.
down.
So do you have any projects coming up? Or is anything you want to
Um,
promote or let people know about?
I am going to start working on a coloring book.
Oh,
So
awesome.
I was already featured in a coloring book recently with a bunch
Uh-huh.
of other native artists.
Uh-huh.
Um, it was a cool project to be a part of, and it was more educational. But I just want to make a native based coloring book, but more just fun vibes. Nothing serious. Doesn't have to be educational, but like maybe sort of like our native stories, but in like a cartoony fashion way. So sort of like I don't know if you ever heard of Coco Wyo.
No.
She's like number one coloring book artist in the coloring book world for adult coloring
Really?
books. Yes.
Okay.
And people make TikToks of them like just coloring her books. I kind
Really?
of want to be that person, but for the native community.
Uh-huh.
Maybe like cute little like coyote, that little trickster. Maybe
Uh-huh.
trickster stuff in my coloring book. But yeah, I really want to work on a coloring book. I want to work on two actually, one native, one non-native.
Uh-huh.
Just more of my characters that I've made in the past.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, I want to get in the coloring book world.
That
So
is awesome. I love it. You are on it. You are on the grind. You got your script writing, your amazing paintings. So you can find Monica in Southern California at the some of the markets. Hit her up,
yeah,
go say hi. Maybe she'll paint your hands.
yeah, maybe if it's interesting enough, I'll paint it.
Uh,
Yeah, hit me up on Instagram. I have
yeah.
my website www.theartofmonica.monicazavala.com.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'll send you the links and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. I'll put it in the bio, so check her out. So
yeah.
thank you, Akat. Thank you, Paloma, for spending time with
Yeah.
us, sharing your life and all the awesomeness that you are.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being on this podcast with you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay,
All
bye.
right. Bye.